let me see what we got here. I'm going to just raise this up just a little bit. Yeah, looks good. I'm going to raise it up one more level. One more time. All right, looks good. Oh, there we go. All right, so what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about how you can find a niche. Now, when it comes to creating content and being successful online, you have a niche. Now, finding a niche happens one of two ways. Either you pick one or people will pick one for you. And you don't want people to tell you what your niche is. You want to be in control of that. And the reason is, if you have control, you can dictate where things go. But oftentimes, and I hear this a lot, people will say, well, I don't have a niche, I don't need a niche, or I am my niche. And that's terrible advice. I think that's really, really bad. You should definitely have a niche that you can put your flag on and say, this is what I'm all about, right? And today we are going to talk about a very simple way that you can find and utilize a niche. And it's simply by talking about problems that you've solved in the past. This is probably one of the easiest things that you can do. And I'll just give you a quick story about how I use this. So in the past, my first niche or area that I created content or I generally talked about was in home security cameras. More specifically, it was in like Ring video doorbells or video doorbells in general. And the way that I stumbled across this niche was we had just moved into the subdivision. The houses in the subdivision were in various stages of being built. Some were completely finished, some just had like the frame, and you could kind of see how houses were made, which was really, really cool. However, back then and even kind of now, I never really slept that much. And one night, it was about 2 a.m., 2 in the morning, and I'm looking outside and I see about 10 or 15 high school age kids walking around the subdivision. And as they're walking on the subdivision, they're going in and out of the different houses. And so, I was kind of curious as to what they were doing, and I wanted to make sure that they weren't going into my house and taking my stuff when I wasn't there. And so I started doing research and trying to figure out and learn about home security systems. Now, this was, I don't know, 7 years ago, back when video doorbells weren't really that prevalent. They weren't a big thing. And so there wasn't a ton of information out there, or there wasn't a ton of information from regular everyday people. There was a lot of corporate information. There was a lot of information out there telling you how good it was and the benefits, but there wasn't a lot of people out there that actually had used it and could tell you the strengths and weaknesses. And so what I did, as I learned about video doorbells, I started sharing that information, that knowledge over on YouTube. And my first YouTube channel, it only has 2,000 subscribers right now, but my most viewed video was, can you install a Ring video doorbell without an existing doorbell? That was the keyword. That video has over 250,000 views at this point. But more importantly, about 1% of the people that saw that video clicked on the affiliate link that was inside in the description of that video, and they purchased something through Amazon. And just imagine 1% of people clicking and spending, and I think the video doorbells at that time were like $100, but usually people would stack up their cart with 4 or 5 different things and they would make a purchase. So I made pretty good money just off of that one video. And essentially you can do the same thing. Now you might be thinking, well, there's nothing new under the sun, and you might be correct there. But you don't have to have a new idea. You don't have to be really unique or original. You just have to look at the problems that you have solved for yourself, because chances are the problems that you have solved for yourself, or there's somebody going through it right now. There's somebody that is going through the exact same problems that you've solved. So what I recommend that you do is take a look at the challenges that you encountered over the last 5 to 10 years, and I'll give you some examples. We've got 10 or not 10. We've got twin 10-year-olds and a 7-year-old. And so one of the problems that we faced was having 3 kids under 3. There's a lot of people out there that are struggling as first-time parents. There are a lot of people out there that are struggling as first-time parents of twins, and so you can create content to help them avoid the frustration. I'll give you a quick example of that. When we first had our kids, we were first-time parents, so it's a heck of a challenge to be a first-time parent, and even more so being a first-time parent of twins. I can remember vividly the first time we ventured out with the twins, and they say that you really shouldn't leave the house for like a month. The first time we ventured out, we were going to the movie store. Back in the day, it was just movies. There wasn't streaming or anything like that. We are going to Family Video. We are on 75th Street, heading east towards the lake. I live in Kenosha. None of these details make sense to you, but that's okay. It helps with the story. I'm driving, heading east on Highway 50, 75th Street, and my wife looks at me and says, "Did you bring the diaper bag?" And I'm like, "Nope. Did you bring the diaper bag?" Now, again, as first-time parents, it's one of those things where you're just used to getting up and going. You're not used to having kids and having all of these different ancillary items that you've got to bring. Luckily, we didn't get too far. We turned around, headed back, got the diaper bag, and uh, nobody was worse for wear. But think about all of the problems that you've encountered over the last 5 years. Now, these could be personal problems, these can be professional problems, these can just really be things that you've learned. And I'll give you more examples. Back before we had kids, one of my big things was detailing my car. I used to drive a manual Camaro SS. It was a fast car. I only drove it during the spring and the summer and early fall. I would detail the car twice per year. Once before I put it away around Thanksgiving time, and then right before I got it out. I don't know why I would detail it, but I would wash that car every single Sunday in the summer. And it looked when it was driving looked like it was wet. People complimented on how great it looked. No swirl marks, nothing. But in order for me to learn how to do that, I had to go do research. And then I could teach that to other people. So car detailing. And one thing that I want to give you guys a heads up on, as the world turns and as we head deeper and deeper into a recession, people are going to want to learn how to do things themselves. Okay. Really, really important. People are going to when economic times are booming, people are going to want to hire people to do stuff. So like they'll go to a mechanic and have their oil changed. They'll go to a mechanic and have their brakes fixed. But as times get tougher and there's less extra income out there, people are going to try and figure it out themselves. And how are they going to do it? They're going to go to the internet. They're going to type in things like how to change oil on a 2025 Kia Sorento. And if you have a Kia Sorento and you know how to change the oil, you can create content teaching them how to do that. And the best part about it is when you create content, your content lives on the internet forever, right? And people can see that video because I guarantee you right now, someone's searching how to change the oil in a 2019 Dodge Caravan. I don't know if Dodge made a Caravan, but you get the point. Anyway, but finding a niche is really simple. And like I said, the simplest thing that you can do for yourself is just reflect for 20 minutes, write down all the problems that you had. Maybe you lost a bunch of weight. Maybe you gained a bunch of weight. Maybe you went on a series of diets and exercises. Maybe you lost a job, found a new job. Maybe you got promoted. You can teach other people those things. You don't have to be an expert in getting promoted. You simply just share the tips, tricks, and knowledge and skills that you've learned. Maybe during the course of your travels, you had to go to a bunch of conferences. Teach people about what you know about those conferences, or teach people about what you know in traveling to your city. And there will be people out there that happily will consume your content and pay you for your knowledge. Another real cool thing that I used to tell people to do, and this might be outside the scope, is if you're struggling to find a niche, go to your local grocery store. Here in Wisconsin, we have what's called the Woodman's. Woodman's used to have an entire aisle dedicated to just magazines. And I don't think I have any magazines behind me, but they had an entire aisle dedicated to magazines. All of those magazines are niche ideas. So like bass fishing, freshwater fishing. These are all different niches that you could get into. Um, and the great thing about that method is that someone out there has done the research and they have spent time, energy, and effort figuring out what people are actually interested in. And so, one thing I tell people is don't try and be unique. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Take a look at the hard work that other people have already done and piggyback off of that, but take it to the next level. So, go look at magazines, and also too. I'm wearing a Chicago Bears sweatshirt. That's a niche. You create content about your favorite sports team. And another thing I used to tell people all the time is listen to sports talk radio. When you listen to sports talk radio, they're going to give you ideas and topics to talk about, and you can then take that information and create content about it. For example, on the way here, or excuse me, on the way, I went to the grocery store this morning to pick up our food because we do orders ahead of time. One of the things that they were talking about was the wind gusts here in Chicago, Chicagoland, and yes, Wisconsin is part of the Chicagoland. Um, it's really windy. Wind gusts are expected up to like 50 miles an hour. And so they were talking about the impact or the effect it would have on kicking field goals. And so if you're creating content where you're talking about sports teams, that's a topic that you could cover. You could say, you could ask your audience a question. Do you think that we'll see more missed field goals because the wind gusts are expected to be 50 miles an hour or higher? Really simple. You take topics that other people are already talking about, and then you add your own input and flavor, and you've got content ideas. So again, I don't want you guys out there trying to reinvent the wheel. A big struggle that a lot of people have is they believe that they need to come up with some super secret untapped niche, and there's no such thing. You just want to find a niche that is making money. You want to find a niche that is growing in popularity, at least at some level, and you want to be able to talk about it for the long term. A lot of people just try and get in for the quick buck, but they don't realize it's going to probably take you a lot longer than you anticipate. And so you struggle. And so, what I would recommend and certainly suggest that you do is obviously plan accordingly, but have a niche that you are interested in that you can talk about for a long period of time and that there's an actual market and demand for. A lot of people out there, like I'll give you an example. Um, what's an untapped niche that people would? An example of an untapped niche is like the COVID masks. Remember how everyone used to have custom COVID masks? That was an untapped niche, but it was essentially a fad or something that didn't have a long shelf life. What you should be doing is looking for something that has been around for a number of years, put your own spin on it, um, and give your own thoughts and input and tell your own stories. Take a niche that's already out there, add your own unique perspective, and then it's yours, right? Because no one has the same perspective you have, no one has the same ideas that you have, and it's actually really as simple as that. A lot of people overcomplicate finding a niche, and they'll be hunting or searching for niche for weeks or months. And when I say, why haven't you found a niche? They'll be like, well, I'm trying to. Everything's too competitive. Everything's too saturated. And I'll tell them, saturation is a myth, because I guarantee you that niche that you think is too saturated, there's somebody that got started in the last 2 weeks and is already finding success. So saturation is a myth. Saturation is something that you're telling yourself to not be successful. And uh, the number one thing I think most people have to realize when it comes to being successful on the internet is getting out of your own way. That's basically like, that's about 80% of the battle, is getting out of your own way and just doing it. And when I say getting out of your own way, doing it when you don't want to, doing it when you're tired, doing it when you're frustrated or angry or annoyed, that's half the battle. Or getting over the mental block of failing. That's 80% of the battle. The other 20% are skills. Skills like creating content. There are formulas out there that you can replicate to create content. There's formulas out there that you can replicate for creating your own digital products or selling, being an affiliate. All of that stuff, they're skills. It's like shooting a jump shot. You just need to spend time learning those skills and implementing and getting the reps in, and you'll be successful. For example, uh, throwing a football or throwing a baseball is a skill. And when you first start, you're really bad at it. My kids throw footballs and baseballs. And in the very beginning, they couldn't throw very far. But every day, they spend 15 minutes throwing a football. And I can see drastic improvement from yesterday when they threw, from 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. My sons routinely throw spirals, they throw farther, all because it's a skill that they just need to work on. And content creation is the exact same. It's a skill, work on it continuously, work on getting better, take coaching and feedback. And in your instance, coaching and feedback is going to be your analytics and engagement, and you can improve on that skill. But getting back to the main purpose, if you guys have questions, let me know down in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer them. I'm just updating my YouTube YouTube descriptions. I'm cleaning them up a little bit so that they all lead in one direction instead of all over the place. But anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comment section. But everybody needs to have a niche. You want to define your niche before someone else defines it for you, and you don't want. And when I say by defining it for you, it usually happens when you have a viral video, because you'll get a bunch of followers that know you for that one viral video. And then when you try and create content about literally anything else, you won't get any engagement. You won't get anything. And then you'll be frustrated and you'll feel like you'll be pigeonholed into making that exact same video over and over again. So if you want to be a content creator, you want to define what you want to be known for. You want to define who you are, and don't let people define it for you, because oftentimes they're going to define it wrong. Yeah, again, let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me know, is this making sense? Comment yes, nod your head, raise your hand if it is making sense. Obviously, I can't see you, but it's really important to know that this is making sense. Now, what gives me the background knowledge and skills to give you this information? Well, I've been doing internet marketing and digital marketing for, I don't know, 10 years now, around maybe a little bit longer. I have niches in security cameras. I started a blog about sound bars and small home appliances. I have Instagram accounts about pet puppies. Can dogs eat certain types of foods? And so, what I talk about works, and it works across multiple platforms and multiple niches. So that's what qualifies me to tell you what I'm telling you. Anyway, do you guys, hi Elston, how are you doing? Thanks for the content. It makes complete sense. Great, Ed. Thank you for hopping on and commenting. But yeah, what's really cool is anybody and everybody can do this, but most people choose not to do it because they're overcomplicating it. Being successful on the internet is really, really simple. It's not easy. And especially, it's not easy if you've never done it before. Each hurdle feels impossible until you clear that hurdle. Creating your first video feels impossible until you create your first video. Earning your first dollar online until you feels impossible until you earn your first dollar online. And then once you do it, you say, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Then you just need to put systems in place to help you redo it again and again and again. That's what it's all about. But most people struggle because of the lack of consistency and persistence. Because there's nobody standing over your shoulder telling you that you've got to make a video, or you've got to make 5 videos. People oftentimes don't do it, and they say, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week. It's kind of like Spice Items used to say, I'll start that diet next week, and next week never comes for a variety of reasons. We get busy, we get bored, we get distracted, we get frustrated. But being successful on the internet, it's really simple. Identify a problem. There are literally millions of them out there. Create content to solve those problems and answer those questions, and then figure out a way to monetize. And I'm not talking about the TikTok Shop or the TikTok Creativity Fund or the YouTube Partner Program or any of those things out there, because those are short-term, inconsistent strategies designed to make the platforms money and give you the table scraps, right? If you look at the CPMs for TikTok, for example, they're what, $1? So for every 1,000 views, you would get paid $1. CPM stands for cost per cost per 1,000. So you would need 1,000 views to make $1 essentially, which is a bad deal for you, and it keeps you creating content, chasing after views, chasing after qualified views, because we know that not all views are qualified views. Some views are special and others aren't, and the special views don't make you any money. What you should be doing instead is, if you have a niche, most likely there are problems that you can solve and people will pay you for them. Comment in your niche in the comment section. I'll give you some suggestions of ways that you can monetize the problems, right? So for example, I'm wearing a Chicago Bears t-shirt. What are some ways that I could monetize a Chicago Bears? Couple ways, couple things that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. We could do exclusive content, like a membership community, a private membership community. We could create a digital product on the history of the Chicago Bears, or maybe I create something where I do exclusive interviews with former Bears players. There are millions of, so like for example, what if I was able, through my content, I was able to connect with Devin Hester or Lance Briggs or I don't know, Patrick Manley or somebody, and I do interviews and offer them as exclusive access and information. Because that information is not anywhere on the internet, people will pay you for it. Another thing that you could do is you could create a little guide for the people. The Bears play in Chicago today. You could create a little guide for the people that are coming to the game to help them understand the best places to eat, where to stay, where to shop, where to visit. That's more of like a travel type of thing. But the really cool thing about that is people will pay you for it, because in reality, most of the people that go to Chicago Bear games, they're not staying in the city. I don't know about most, but there's a large portion of people that go to the Bears games. They don't stay in Chicago. They've got to come from all around, and you've got to think about the other teams as well. Or for example, the Bears play the Saints, and when the Saints come marching in or go marching in, there are going to be Saints fans that want to know the best places to eat and drink and stay and activities to do during the weekend. And you can create content to help them out with that. But, comment down below what you want to be known for, what your niche is, and I'll give you some digital product ideas, which is really simple. And the really cool thing about this is when you have a digital product that you're selling through your content, you can make money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You don't have to rely on the TikTok Shop or the TikTok Creativity Fund or the YouTube Partner Program or any of those things out there. You simply create content to attract people to you. They will click on your bio because they want to learn more about you. They want to watch more of your videos, and then they go to your sales page where you're selling them something. That can happen globally. The other issue too with TikTok Shop and the TikTok Creativity Fund is the TikTok Shop is only for the US. If you live in the US, you can't earn commissions or sales on purchases made outside of the US. A lot of people don't realize that. So if I'm here in the US, which I am, and someone from the United Kingdom clicks on my link and wants to buy a product, I don't earn a commission. You also run the risk of an affiliate program or company just disappearing overnight. You also run the risk of people stealing your content. And that happens a lot. A lot of people that are a part of the TikTok Shop, they have their content stolen, just downloaded, watermark removed, uploaded. They might invert it so it looks like it's a different video, but content can be stolen. The other issue too with TikTok Shop, and I didn't want this to turn to specifically a TikTok Shop bashing video, but here we are. The other issue too with TikTok Shop is everyone winds up creating the same 10 types of videos. Everyone's creating the exact type of videos. They see a video that allegedly goes viral, they make the exact same videos. There are tons of websites out there that will tell you the top performing TikTok Shop affiliates. You go to that website, you see what products they're promoting, you go see their videos, and then you just make the exact same videos. And then people can't distinguish you from somebody else. What you should do instead is sell your own digital products and then do affiliate marketing on the back end. So that way, people know, like, and trust you. They've already purchased something from you. You do affiliate marketing on the back end. You've got multiple revenue streams built in, instead of trying to fight, scratch, and claw with millions of other people. The biggest problem with TikTok Shop is you wind up blending in with other people, and you're fighting an uphill battle. You're no longer unique. You start to blend in, and quite honestly, whenever a lot of people, whenever they see a TikTok Shop video, they just scroll immediately. They don't even watch it. But if you create content talking to a specific group of people, they'll watch the video. Some of them will get value from that video, and some of them will want to work with you more exclusively. What's really cool is TikTok has not only does TikTok have global reach. People all around the world have money. And so if you help them solve a problem, comment your niche down below and I'll give you some digital product ideas. If you help them solve a problem, some of them will ask you to help them solve more problems and they'll pay you for it. The other issue with TikTok Shop is that at the beginning of every single month, you're starting over at zero. You don't know who buys from you. And so you're constantly having to get on that content hamster wheel. I saw someone say they make 20 TikTok Shop videos per day. That is an intense amount of videos that you need to create in order to meet your income and revenue goals. And you've got to do that every single day. And then come November, you're going to have to figure out a way to do it all over again. Essentially with the same products and more competitors talking about those exact same products that are using your videos. Comment yes if this is making sense as to why TikTok Shop should not be your primary strategy. Because you are going to be fighting an uphill battle. And if you take a day off, you only upload 10 videos, you're going to be frustrated and angry with yourself. However, if you sell a digital product that you've created or purchased from someone else and have the ability to resell it, you're no longer competing against everybody else for the same thing. You are talking to a specific group of people and helping them solve their problems. Let me know if that makes sense. And I say this as someone that has sold stuff through TikTok Shop. Because TikTok Shop has been sold as the best way to make passive income, people have been flocking to this way to monetize. And so essentially a bunch of people have created more competition for themselves. And what they've done is they've pivoted to selling courses about TikTok Shop, which there's nothing wrong with selling courses. You just have to see where the game is going. In fact, what I tell people to do is to do what the gurus are doing and not what they're telling you to do. A lot of people are telling you to get into TikTok Shop, but they're selling courses on how to get into the TikTok Shop and how to create content for the TikTok Shop. A lot of people are telling you how to go viral so that you can be part of the creativity fund, but they're selling their own digital product and courses and coaching. Do what they're doing and not what they're telling you to do. Gary Vee is telling you to sell Hawk products on the TikTok Shop, but if you go look at his bio, he's got a link to a stand store where he's selling his physical and digital products, right? Do what they're doing and not what they're telling you to do. Let me know if that makes sense. I know that flies in the face of conventional wisdom, but if you can see the game, if you can see 10 feet in front of your face, you can see the game. And you'll know where the game is going. Most people can't see where the game is going, and so they're always a couple steps behind. But I'm here to help you. Do what the gurus are doing and not what they're telling you to do. Anybody that's telling you how to join the TikTok shop or how to go viral to make more money, go look at their bio. Most likely, they're selling you a digital product. Now, I'm not saying the digital product is bad or wrong or false, but I'm telling you, most likely, that's what they're doing. What most people are doing and what you should be doing is you should be using content as the front end of your business. Think about content like if you drive by the main strip in your city, state, or town, usually there's a bunch of stores on that main road. That's what you should be doing. Like you'll drive by here where I live, on the main road, Highway 50. They've got a Target, a Dick's Sporting Goods, a Petco or Petland. They've got a J.C. Penney. They've got a GameStop. They do that because they know all of the traffic is riding up and down that street, and they can look over and see. That's what content should be doing. Content, TikTok is Highway 50. TikTok is that main road. You know how when you drive down highways, tollways, interstates, you see like the giant McDonald's sign and Burger King and Popeyes and Wendy's and all that? We're doing the same thing. TikTok is that toll road. TikTok is that interstate. TikTok is I-94, right? And millions of people are driving up and down I-94 every single day. What you want to do is you want to put your little sign, your giant McDonald's logo on the highway. And you want to put that McDonald's sign on the highway again and again and again and again, so it gives you a higher chance of being seen and discovered. That's what you should be doing. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that analogy makes sense. I just thought of that analogy and hopefully it makes sense. You might be asking, like, why do I need a bunch of content? Same reason why McDonald's has a McDonald's on every single stop, on every single off-ramp and on-ramp. Because the more you see that sign, the higher the chance, higher the likelihood you're going to veer off and you're going to go buy something. And not just something, you might spend, the McDonald's has an average order value that they try and hit. And most likely you're going to hit that average order value. That's what you should think about. That's how you should look at a place like TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and Twitter and all these other places, as I-94 or a major highway or thoroughfare. I don't know what they call it in Europe. What's it called? The Autobahn. If you're in Germany, think of TikTok like the Autobahn. Millions of people get on the Autobahn every single day and they're going up and down, up and down, up and down. You want to have your sign out so that eventually someone veers off and they go look at your sign, or they go look at you a little bit closer. That's the perfect analogy. I don't know why I have never thought of that before, but that's a great analogy of how to use TikTok the right way. Most people use the social media platforms the wrong way. They think of it as the place to be, and it's not. TikTok is the highway, but you want to have your logos on every single off-ramp as many times as possible. Because you never know when someone's going to be hungry enough, how many times they have to see your logo or your voice or face or whatever it might be to want to veer off and talk to you and order something and get more. Let me know if that makes sense. Because if you can understand that concept, you can understand how to use these social media platforms the right way. If you don't understand that concept, comment "I don't understand" and I'll explain it. I'll try and explain it a different way. But if you can understand that analogy, you can be successful online. You can make money online. That is the number one thing you've got to understand. This highway analogy. Think about it. Next time you get on the highway, look, you'll see a bunch of signs. You'll see 1,000 McDonald's signs. You'll see 50 Burger Kings, and you'll see a bunch of gas stations, right? You'll see a bunch of gas stations. You'll see here in Wisconsin, we have what's called Quick Trip with a K, not a Q. You'll see a bunch of quick trips. In fact, every other exit here in this county has a quick trip along I-94. Because eventually you're going to see quick trip enough time and say, I might as well stop for gas. I might as well get that gas before it's too late. And then you go and you get gas, and then you get 20 other things. But if you can understand that analogy, you can be successful on the internet. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, these aren't the places to be. These are the highways where people are hanging out. And then your sign is your content. So, if you make 5 videos per day, those 5 videos are your little signs. And the way you create your videos is how you create your logos or your signs. What you talk about is how you differentiate yourself from the other people. And the stories that you tell are the ways that you differentiate yourself. For example, here we've got a McDonald's and a Wendy's right across the street. And right across the street from Wendy's, we've got an Arby's, a Popeyes, and a Taco Bell that's in a gas station. They're all selling fast food, but it's a different type of fast food. They all have different stories, and they all have different specialties. And that's what differentiates them. If you can understand that analogy, you can be successful. If you can't, spend some more time thinking about it, because that's probably the most important thing that you'll hear today. I don't know. Maybe you'll hear something more important, but if you want to be successful, understand that analogy. Ed, does that make sense? And comment your niche down below if you could. Comment yes if that makes sense, or 1, or let me know that you are alive, because you can be successful. You should be successful. And the other thing too the issue that people run into is they think that there's a ton of people out there talking about what you want to be known for. Chances are there's probably like 10 people talking about it. Half of those people aren't very good. 1 or 2 people are very good, and the rest are just like in the middle that you could overtake. Think about that for a second. You perceive that everybody is talking about your niche. So let's say your niche is in woodworking. You believe that everybody is talking about woodworking. The truth is, it feels that way, or it looks that way, because everything you consume is about woodworking. So if I'm talking about it, that must mean everybody's talking about it. But in reality, there's probably 100 people talking about it. And like I said, out of those 100 people, 50 are really bad or inconsistent or not persistent. 10 of them are probably really, really good. So that's, 60? The other 40% or 40 people are just meh. And if you keep creating content, you commit to getting better, you'll overtake those people. That's really what it comes down to. That's honestly the math behind it. I've given you a lot of math. I said 80% of being successful on the internet is mental, is getting out of your own way. The other 20% is skills that you can learn. I think that might be the same thing with sports too. 80% is mental. The other 20% are just the skills associated with it. Anyway, what time is it? It is 9:37. We're up early this morning. Guys, let me know if you have any questions. My goal is to go live every day, and I've got no excuse not to go live. I really don't. We make tons of excuses out there for stuff, and really there's no reason. There's no excuse not to go live, not to find time in the 24-hour period to go live. So I'm going to start going live every single day for the next year. Today is October 19th, 2025. I am committing to going live every single day for 1 year. And they might just be short ones like this 39-minute conversation, or they might be long hour ones. But it's something I've got to do. I've got to get better and get used to telling stories and talking live, because that's the only way to get better at it. It's a skill. Formulating thoughts on the go. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Anyway, that is it for me. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, comment, share, do all that good stuff. Let these platforms know that this video was helpful. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.